We're joined by Javed Wattley, the owner and head technician at Secure Tech SKN, a business that provides simple solutions for complex problems. Javed, good morning and welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Good morning.
All right, well, we're always happy to be talking with people about their craft, and so today is your turn. And we're going to start with, how long has your business been operating?
Officially, it has been operational since December 2019. That's when I branched off on my own fully and said, try to take the reins and push myself forward, invest in myself a bit more, and put what I've learned over the years into full effect.
All right, just a follow-up question, because if it was in 2019, we know what happened in 2020. So what happened to your business during the pandemic?
During that time, it more or less stalled because, a fresh business, the sense of being an emergency entity, and I wasn't allowed to go out and so forth. So mainly for the clients that I already had at that time, it was mainly just a lot of remote work I was able to do. But the actual going out and spot checks, diagnosing systems and so forth, that basically was on hold for a while. Yeah. So it just gave me some time to try to reflect and understand business world and workforce a bit more.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Did you have any regrets that you had left and you had begun your road to being an entrepreneur, and then you had a sudden
Yeah, well, the initial sense of it one time, so that came after COVID hit, that kind of dampened the spirit a bit.
Okay.
But, during that time I prayed a lot, and I just asked for favor, peace of mind, and, for things to look up when the pandemic was over, because I knew that it wasn't going to be forever. So that, that kind of just had me down for a bit, but, with the faith of God and the trust in God, everything still worked out well.
I like that you had faith.
Well, naturally so, because I think it gives you a positive outlook. Yes. And now you're here to just talk about what happened after 2019, 2020, 2021, right? All right, so let's talk about the mission and vision of your business.
All right, so our mission is helping persons to better understand the IT field and not just get stuff because this might be the hottest thing on the market, not because it's just the more advertised bit of equipment or accessory technology. Actually, we try to sensitize persons in helping them to fit their needs. One of the simplest stories I like to give is, it doesn't make sense to buy a phone of $3,000 when all you do is take pictures, WhatsApp, and look at the time.
Okay.
But because there are cheaper options that still give you what you need in the caliber that you would want it for. And the vision, right now we're just operating between St. Kitts and Nevis. And, we already started sensitizing persons, helping persons get what they need, and fixing issues that they already have long-standing. And we look to, in the next 5 years, to be somewhat regional. Yeah.
You go, guy.
All right.
We just had a discussion about pointing out someone's error to them. Now, what if the person just wants the phone because it will give them some kind of prestige or some place in society that I have a phone that costs this much, and they're not using the apps or the other items that may be on the phone? How do you get them to not buy that phone, knowing that they very well want that phone?
Well, I've been in a lot of those cases. Even up to last night, me and a gentleman had a conversation about that. And what I've learned over time, you let people know, you help them to understand, and then you lead them to their own devices to then make the decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same result. Okay.
Especially if they're your clients, because you don't want to be arguing with your clients either. So that makes sense. All right, so let's talk about the name. Seems like a simple name. How did you come up with it?
That name took me about 2 days of just this, that, asking friends, some clients who I have a really good relationship with, how does this sound, how does that sound? persons gave me, you know, different choices and so forth. But then I sat down at one point in the backyard, you know, just trying to get some breeze and clear the mind, and a voice just said, Secure Tech. Secure Technologies. Or like, no, Secure Technology sounds a bit long. Secure Tech just sounds short, sweet, and to the point. So, and then, you know, from a bit of feedback from a few persons, you know, then I just, you know what, I must stick with this one.
It's very catchy, and you're right, it's very much to the point.
Yeah. So we all talk about your slogan, your safety is our top priority. So the importance of prioritizing the safety of your client.
Yes, well, some persons might not look at it as a need to have camera system or even a simple door access system. But in today's world, especially in the recent past couple of weeks, with the recent crimes and so forth, it just brings even more to light the necessity of being able to, even though you might not see the action at the time because you might be at work or you might be overseas, at least you might be able to have some idea of what was going on, how it happened, where it came from, to then even know, help you to make better steps forward in the future to protect yourself and the persons around you.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, it's one of the things that I've been concerned about. Cortensia knows that I've talked about it off ear a lot more than on ear, but definitely so. All right, so let's talk specifically now about the services that you provide. You mentioned the surveillance, the camera installation. That's one of them. And we can go through the lists, and you let us know where we need to stop. Networking and cable management.
Yes, that's one of the IT sides of what we do. You know, we could just do the structured cabling, with trunking, piping, cable trays for a business, a home, small shop, whatever the situation. We don't limit ourselves in where we go, because we try to supply a solution and experience for everyone. Yeah.
Okay. What about your computer repairs?
Yeah, well, that's basically the foundation.
Okay.
That's where it all started from high school coming up.
Okay.
Tampering here and there, and then I did IT in college.
Okay.
And I just got a love for it from fifth form coming up. So that was, you know, the root mark.
Okay.
And you're doing what you love, so that's important. Access control, another service that you provide.
Yeah, the access control, like I explained a bit earlier, you know, door access systems, card swipes, readers, maglocks. We install, maintain, repair, the whole works.
I'm going to stay on access control for a while. I see some houses now with keypads. What happens when we press those numbers too much and somebody that doesn't live there can go and press those numbers and get in? How is that person secured with those keypads?
In the earlier time, that really was a big issue. Because then everybody watches those spy movies, say, look to see what's one more than the others.
Exactly.
Right now on the market, there are a lot more robust systems, there are a lot more robust equipment. So the initial wearing down would actually take a lot longer than some people might think. Yeah.
All right.
So you can be secure with Secure Tech, all right?
Indeed.
And you also offer programming services.
Yeah. The main program we do right now would be for electronics. Mainly phones for now, but we do plan to branch out as, you know, we develop more in the software and so forth. So right now, what we do for mainly Samsung, because for some reason, if you look at it, Samsung is one of the, especially in the Western world, Samsung is a very widely used Android OS. The phone using Android OS. So we have password bypass, system file restructuring when you know your phone crashes and so forth, and also Google bypass at times with very stringent conditions, because you know we don't want someone to just steal a phone and then come and say, hey, I'm locked out of my phone. Yeah. And being a security company, then that would really put us in a tight squeeze.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have some very stringent conditions where that is concerned.
Wow, that's good enough. You just mentioned that you started your interest in becoming a technician in high school. What Was there any one or any persons that would have influenced you to take this particular field?
Thinking about it, I can't pinpoint. I grew up on a lot of different fields of work: carpentry, plumbing, electrical. But I always was into taking down, putting up, because I had a small little computer as a child. And every weekend, I would take a screwdriver, screw it down, clean it out, screw it back up, put in the batteries, and it works.
Okay, I was just going to ask if it worked.
Yeah, you're one of those people who like to tinker. So I can understand why you're doing this in relation to electronics, etc. All right, so what training have you received in the field? Is it limited to your high school and your college exposure, or are you doing things, do you plan to do things later on?
Well, I do plan to do a lot more certifications. And I chose certifications over the actual degree because you get more hands-on experience. And that's what I look towards. Theory is great, but if you learn it but you can't actually do it, it makes no sense to you. So yeah, right now I'm currently finishing a full course on CCTV installations and programming. So then I will be, it's a BTech level 5 certification. So then it basically takes you from the groundwork, the simple knowing what cameras are, up to installing full systems, knowing what type of camera, what type of lens, what camera to use where, and what type of wires and so forth. And then I do plan to do some networking courses, some hardware software courses in the near future.
Oh, great. Definitely would help your business.
Yeah, on the right path. Your favorite service to provide to your customers, other than advice?
That one is kind of hard to choose from, because like I said, I like to think, I like to troubleshoot, and I love what I do in the terms of security installations.
Okay.
I love when you finish and you look back and say, okay, yeah, everything come together nicely and the customer is happy.
Nice.
So I would say the best part about it is the customer being happy for me.
Okay, all right.
Well, instead of happy customer, you get references, you get more business, right?
Yes.
So it works. You keep the customers happy. Can you share with us any of the difficult, quote unquote, difficult jobs that you've done so far?
Last year, I finished a job that COVID had more or less put off for a bit. And I had a lot of shipping issues because the equipment, I usually get my equipment between New York and Miami. That particular job, the equipment was coming from Miami, coming from New York actually. And for some reason it went to Antigua. And then it found its way in Trinidad before it came back to St. Kitts. So we actually had to go back to Miami before it came to St. Kitts. So it took me about maybe 4 months. About 4 months. And they actually wrote it off as lost in transit. So I had to reorder equipment. Supposedly the original equipment, it ended up coming. But it was a lot of back and forth communication with that specific client, and it was an older couple, and they go kind of tired of waiting and so forth. But I told them, just try to bear with the situation at the time where I was trying to locate the equipment. Then I just said, you know what? Instead of waiting on this long process that I'm not sure when it's gonna get done, I just went forward and just repurchased the equipment just to get the job done. And then I had a lot of structural issues from the contractor side. There's a concrete structure and boxes that are placed in the wall. In some places, the initial idea that I had for everything to be flush on the wall and projecting out properly was a bit sidetracked because a lot of the boxes were like 1.5 inches, some places almost 1 inch deep into the wall. So then I had to brainstorm and find ways to kind of try to bring them back out, and and it had me up a couple of nights frustrated, trying to find out how can I get this done and how can I still put my best foot forward. So it was really taxing at the time. It was really taxing at the time.
But you did it.
But I did it. It was completed. It was completed. It was done really nice. I still did all my tidbits that I usually do. And at the end of it, I was satisfied for the main fact that it was completed and they got what they paid for.
So they were satisfied.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I like that. I was just going to ask a question. So your contact information and how can we book you?
All right, so the main way to contact me is by straight call or WhatsApp. What I try to tell people, I use digital, and recently I've been having some trouble. I don't know if it's my chip.
Time to go to flow.
But what I tell people, if you call me, and if you call me 2 times and you don't get me, leave me a WhatsApp message. I would easily see that than a voice message, because for some reason sometimes my voice messages don't come till 2 days later. Sometimes I don't see the missed call until 2 days later.
Okay.
So I try to tell people, don't just give up, but at least leave a WhatsApp message, because everybody uses WhatsApp at this point.
Yeah.
Very true. All right, so they call you on WhatsApp, they leave your message on WhatsApp, we've got the number.
Or you can also message me on either Instagram or on Facebook.
All right, give us those.
The Instagram and Facebook names are basically the same thing: Secure Tech SKN and Secure Tech 869. But the Secure Tech SKN is more or less across the board. Once you type it in, you're sure that you would find it.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, you know what? In our final moment, I have to ask you really quickly, what advice would you give to other people who are interested in becoming technicians?
I would say, first of all, you have to love your craft, because there will be some challenges, there's some people you have to deal with, there's some situations that you'll come across that will really test your mental capacity. And they will also test your physical strength to just keep going. And especially in saying kits, where things pick up and slow down in the blink of an eye, you have to be willing to endure and not just be stagnant, not just stay with one. Okay, I know how to push this chair from here to here. You can't just stay with pushing the chair back and forth, because there's going to be a time when nobody needs the chair to be moved. So you have to be diverse and be willing to flex and bend to then keep moving yourself forward. Yeah.